Thank you for joining me for Music in My Life. Today's guest is Victoria Beebee, a singer-songwriter and educator. She'll be sharing how she uses education, music education, to help people find themselves and to give them that injection of confidence. I look forward to talking with you, talking with her, and for you sticking around and staying with us as you enjoy some musical experiences. Victoria, welcome.
Hi there.
It's good to have you.
Good to see you, Ken.
Okay,
great to see you.
Great. Who is Victoria Beebee?
Wow, that's a good question. Good question. Still working it out myself. Well, I suppose I've always had musical influence in my life from a very young age. There was always music played in the house, in the car, you know, my mum and dad. I think my mum was playing all kinds of rock and roll when I was in the womb. But really, it was one of these profound moments at school. I was daydreaming in class, and I was sent into what was called the naughty room in my mind. I went in there and I saw this beautiful old brown piano. And I think maybe as kind of, yeah, absolutely, just a little bit smaller. Brilliant traditional school piano. And maybe to console myself, I was a little bit down, all while I'd been sent into this room for daydreaming. And I just began to play the piano and sort of compose a song. And it was great. It just felt wonderful, just such an amazing feeling, like magic, you know.
So what did you go on to do? I mean, musically, what have you done?
Yeah, so I joined a band when I was about 15, and they got to number 2. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that. So I was about 15, and we recorded a song called I Want to Give You Devotion. That went to number 2 in the national charts at the time. So I was doing a lot of kind of soul dance music, and had a fantastic manager. And then sort of a year later, after that experience, I studied jazz and popular music at Chichester Tech. Which led on to doing some tours at quite a young age, going to Germany, working with various bands, brass bands, all kinds of stuff. And being particularly into, you know, jazz, blues, soul, this kind of music. And writing, a lot of songwriting. I carried on doing that and working with various producers. And guesting on albums as well, even Brazilian music, Brazilian record label, which was a wonderful experience. Amazing musicians to work with. These days, I turn my hand to teaching, working with groups of people, you know, confidence building. And it's such a pleasure. It's so lifting. It's like therapy for me almost. It's a wonderful experience.
All right, so which sort of artists do you like?
Oh, I love a lot of 70s artists, but one who had quite a big influence on me from a child was Carole King.
Carole King?
Yeah.
As in, you've got a friend, Carole King.
I love that song.
Should we do that?
Shall we?
Well, here is Victoria Beebee singing Carole King's You've Got a Friend.
Down and troubled, and you need some love and care, and nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running.
So you've just so beautifully sung You've Got a Friend.
Thank you.
And winter, spring, summer or fall, we've got to do this call. It talks about, you know, a steadfast friend. And for many people, music is that friend, is that comfort.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time in your life where music hasn't quite been the friend?
Yeah, strangely enough. I never thought it would happen to me. I mean, what a strange phenomenon to not enjoy music all of a sudden. My whole life was about music. It was, you know, I wake, eat, breathe it, sleep music. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, I just began to dislike hearing music. It's like I needed rest. My ears needed rest, silence or something. Almost like a depression. Like a depression in my life. Suddenly music wasn't the thing that gave me the buzz anymore. And I've been doing this, you know, concerts, stadiums and intimate groups of people singing, and suddenly it just didn't do it for me anymore. So it's almost like I had to completely step away from music. Personally, when it comes to teaching other people, I could do that because it's about them. But for me personally, it was like I was going through my own sort of crisis. But actually it did me a lot of good.
Right.
It did me so much
So was it
good.
something that triggered that particular...
Yeah, I think, well, my dad was going through cancer
Right.
for quite a few years, even when I was touring actually, and then sadly into his 13th year he passed a few months back. So that's been a very traumatic time. But I think leading up to that, things were just very, very difficult, and I was asking the big questions. You know, what is this all about? And if I
Right.
didn't have music, what would I
Sure.
have? But there is a happy ending.
Yeah.
That I've started to love music so much again, to such an extreme.
That's fantastic that you've actually come out of the way.
Yes.
Phew
for that. You know.
But I mean, there was also another experience in your life where obviously you had to stop singing for a while.
Yeah,
Talk
that
about
was
that a bit.
that was terrible as well. Yes, it's interesting, isn't it, how music's played such a pivotal part in my life. It's like I'm so connected to it.
Yes.
Can be for bad or for good.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And I think when I was touring, I suddenly developed an ear infection. And so I was taking a lot of painkillers and things for that, which wasn't good fun. And I was a little bit housebound for a while, and I got the Meniere's disease, where you feel like you're on a boat all the time. It's very painful. So I just couldn't do anything in between 1 to 3 years of my life. But what I could do, and what did happen, was I got very creative. So from my bedroom, I wrote an album, which was lovely. So I couldn't go out and perform.
Entire album.
An
Not
entire
an EP,
album.
just a sort of proper
Yeah, a
10,
proper
11
album.
with bonus track.
Yeah,
album.
with a bonus
Right,
track.
okay.
And it was a cover version, the only cover version on the album. But yes, I drew comfort from my life and people in my life, and I took, I suppose, a sort of retrospective view of it, and was able to express my feelings as opposed to just entertaining crowds of people. I was able to get a little bit indulgent and think about what everything means to me. So it was a songwriter's album. It wasn't really about my vocals. It wasn't about being the best singer in the world. It was all about what's going in my heart and my head. That's what the album was about for me. So I'm really glad I got that ear infection.
Okay. Well, I mean, you shared with me that you wrote a song where you speaking about, you know, obviously your late father's depression.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, people wouldn't know that my dad suffered with depression at all, because he was such a larger-than-life character. And but I think it's something that does need to be talked about. There's a big percentage of mental health issues on the rise now in society. You know, we like to call it a mental health issue or whatever, but I think intrinsically we all have this. We all have this thing where if we're not doing something or focused on something in our lives or have goals, you know, how we've been conditioned since birth, we're just not content in our lives. Even if you find a love, a romance, it lasts a while and then things change, don't they? You're looking for the next thing all the time.
So you wrote this song then?
Yes.
Do you think you could share it with us?
Yeah, I could. I mean, it's going to be hard for me. It's not a song which I openly recorded, but it's a song I wrote for my dad, what I saw as a 14-year-old, what he was going through. But weirdly enough, I find comfort from it myself now too.
All right, well, let's hear the song.
Thank you.
Every time you sigh, you let out the pain. Lightning crash on your window. Long faces appear in drops of rain, bolting the thunder inside of you. Oh, seem to get the knack of how depression grew. And no, you were sad, but I'm glad that you're almost through. Time and time again, your opinion changes. Of what was then is still now. You keep clinging on to your memories. You must lose them somehow. To do
Well, that was Victoria Beebe's song, which she wrote when she was 14, based on her father's depression. Now, of course, when we sing songs which have deep meaning, which come from a deep place, like it did for her, it can leave us welling up with emotion. And singers very often have to try to work through that emotion to sing, and sometimes it disturbs the makeup a little bit. So Victoria's just getting her face made up one more time, and she's going to be joining me once again. I think she's finished now. Victoria, do come back and join me.
Hiya, Ken.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, it's difficult sometimes to sing, don't you? Because, I mean,
yeah.
you have to... I mean, sometimes in training, when they actually train you in singing, specifically in classical training, you know, you've got to sort of go past that and not show too much emotion on stage. But on the other hand, in gospel singing, for example, you know, you're expected to just be, you know, keep it real.
Yeah.
It's a real life experience.
I think that's where I'm coming from, really, and I think that was the connection for me with music. It is emotional. It's a real life thing, and it's comfort, and you work through that. And sometimes, yeah, you have to cry too. We're all human. Yeah,
and it's a spiritual experience as well, isn't it? I mean, because
very much so.
I'm sure through all that you've been through, you know, you said yourself that there were times when you were questioning what's this all about.
Yeah, and I think getting back to the point of I didn't need music for a while because suddenly I needed something far bigger than me or music. I needed God himself. And at that point, I realised that was the road I needed to be on. So I think that was the reason for listening. I needed some silence so I could actually hear his voice.
And that's kind of synonymous with music, really, I think.
Yeah.
You know, the whole notion of God, a divine being, really. Somebody who's communicating, you know, with us on a one-to-one level. And as music does, and it's a vehicle through which I know personally I express best to God. I mean, do you find it yourself?
Yeah, I do completely, and particularly working with groups now, you just see the effect, profound effect it has on people. They can be in such a down mood, or so many problems in their life. Something's happening to the children, or perhaps their mum or dad or siblings, and then they come to a session. And it's like a release and a relief. You know, you're singing something, I don't know, like You've Got a Friend or Perfect Day, or, you know, or Lean on Me as a group. And people literally do lean on each other. They come together. And there's an overwhelming feeling of something good and spiritual is happening here. Even if it's not a spiritual song, there's something so incredible about that experience.
Yeah, a friend of mine once called that communion.
Yes, absolutely.
We're familiar with that, yes.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there's a sense of purpose in your life that, you know, I mean, you've mentioned, and obviously you found that longing was filled through God. Yes. So do you believe that in your music making now that there is a deeper purpose? Because you've been on, like, you know, pyramid stage at Glastonbury and cruise ships and, you know, working with all sorts of people in your life. So do you now sort of see a different direction, a different purpose for your music now beyond the, you know, screaming fans?
Yeah. I do. And I think it's a good question that you're asking me, because for the first time in my life, I'm not trying to dictate where I'm going. Now I'm allowing God to take the lead, and I'm saying, okay, do what you will with me. It's your will. Lead me, please. Show me the way. Because I know his way is the best way. I can try and deviate and go around and do everything I want to do, but it's always going to come back to him. And you know what? He's always right.
So it makes him God, isn't it?
I'm not going to argue.
You know, I was God, and the world would be in absolute trouble because I'm hardly ever right.
Absolutely,
you know, that's my wife.
You know. And this is the thing, isn't it? You know from your own experiences, yeah, there are some great things that have happened, and I know God allowed those things to show me, to teach me. And I still stumble and fall every single day, like every single one of us does. But the difference is now I can turn to God, I can pray anywhere, and I can just ask for guidance. Please show me the way, you know. I'm not feeling 100% today. Help me to get through this. Sure. Lift my spirits.
And in a sense, what you're doing in music education is almost like I often refer to it as like an evangelistic or missionary work in a way, because you're building people's confidence.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're taking them from a place where
Yes.
they might feel absolutely awful about themselves,
Yes.
and you're actually building up, you're empowering
Yes.
them. There's an event you did called Guitars Against Landmines.
Yeah,
wasn't it,
that's right. A few years back, celebrities were asked to give their shoes away in aid of, you know, for people in Cambodia that have been caught in bombs and mines going off, which was so, so sad, really, really sad. So it's just one of the things that we could do to get involved. But we did a concert, I think it was up in Liverpool, and we had some amazing talent come to perform there. And it was great that we were doing something for a brilliant cause, and ultimately trying to remove these landmines, get them out of the country. But, you know, it's political, so...
Yeah. Well, you know, it's fantastic, you know, use of music, really,
Yes.
just to effect that,
Yeah, uniting
that
people
change,
again.
uniting
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
and effecting that change
Yeah.
in people's lives. And so, as music has been, you know, your friend has been your help for most of your life,
Yes.
then, of course, you're using it now to actually help others and to lift them up and elevate them.
It's
and
wonderful.
It's a great work.
It's a great blessing, it really
Great work
is.
you do. Great. Well, thank you so much. It's been a real great joy to have you join me here on the show, and thanks very much for sharing your story.
Thanks, Ken.
It's a deep story. I think many will connect with what you've been through, and the way in which music has featured in your life to actually help, and how you've used music to help others. So
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you
And
very
can I end this by giving you a hug? Because that's what we do in our groups.
thank you. Okay,
Thanks, Ken.
you're welcome. Thank you. So we want to finish off now and just maybe just making some music together, spontaneously.
Okay.
So
just bring it on me.
Oh, absolutely. If you were to sum up a few things which were important about your life in a few words.
Yeah.
would
Okay,
you
right,
say?
you want me to tell you? Okay, yeah, of course. My life. Well, so many things, but to break it down, right now, about the present moment. So moving forward, moving
forward.
on. Hope, faith,
Yep.
and love. These are the classic things.
All right, I'm going to come up with a chord sequence. I think
All right.
it's something kind of minory.
Okay, oh, love it.
And I think a nice 6/8 rhythm feeling
Yeah,
of
yeah.
motion and movement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
You gotta have hope in your heart. Oh, it's true. Give it your heart. And I feel I'm moving forward. It's time for faith and moving forward with you. You make my heart sing so in tune. Follow your path. 'Cause I'm moving on, can't stop now. I feel this song, what more can I do? With love for you, faith in my soul. So much can grow with love in your soul. Moving forward
There you go.
Gorgeous.
All right, you got to number 2 of your group. This is number 1.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ken. That was fun.
I said earlier that the word education comes from the Latin word which means to draw out. And today we've had a great time drawing out inspiration and drawing out life experiences in song. Maybe there's a hidden musician in you. Discover your gift. And join me once again for Music in My Life. I'm off now to probably make some more music. Farewell.